Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel, starting off with 144,000, which would be the ruling governing body in the kingdom of heaven, will be all men. All right. Also to a lot of the 1/3 here in America, which should be men, women, and children that will be saved, which should be believers. 2/3 of our people here in America will be destroyed. You also have the rebels that are scattered abroad in different countries that will be destroyed, and you have the elect that are scattered abroad in different countries that will be saved, who the world ignorantly and willingly calls Black, Hispanic, Native American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Jamaican, Haitian, Guatemalans, Panamanians, Cubans, Argentinians, Chileans, Colombians. Right? We are the Israelites, contrary to what people want to believe. I'm the brother Yeremia, come back at y'all with another quick lesson. As y'all can see, this says Canada's Prime Minister says Europe will build the NWO, right? And that's this devil, man, being proud, boastful, and he's going to accomplish it, to a certain extent. He will. It's part of prophecy, right? So he ain't wrong, Let me get a scripture though. Let me get Proverbs 16 and verse 18. It says, pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. You see, and that's what spirit, these devils are in. They're advancing their technology, right? These the making of these sea hips. China is so-called in the lead right now. I know I did one of my last videos on that. Esau got him, obviously, and he hurry this thing up, man. We're ready to get up out of here. That's one of the last prophecies that have to take place before we get up out of here, man. But this proves who's in charge. This also proves that they're in cahoots. Because why is he saying that they're going to build a new world order? Because they're a whole different country. Canada is, because they're in cahoots, man. We go to Psalms. I get Psalms 2 in verse 1. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Right? Putting sea hips in everybody, right, is a vain thing, right? And it will happen, like I said, it's prophecy, except the elect, you're not going to get it, as far as they have a plan to kill most of the people off that don't take it, a lot of people are going to die, that's part of prophecy. It says the kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast their cords from us. You see, because their ultimate plan ultimately is to get the Israelites. That's who the anointed is. But they know that we have Israelites that look like, other nations people. They know that we're scattered, everywhere. So they got to get as many people as they can, because they don't know who all is the Israelite, who all is not, by just looking at them. I know we the here at GMS, or the followers of GMS, we push that. We push that, right? And the Israelites are as the sand of the sea. There's too many to count. So this devil, he has to make his move at some point. Which he's doing that, right? It says verse 4 it says he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Right? When they start seeing people, man, and it started getting down to the nitty gritty, the Lord's gonna sweep that rug from under them. He's gonna throw that monkey wrench in. He's gonna show them that they're just men, that they're not the Lord, man. And then he's gonna bring them down. Right when they think they got it, the Lord's gonna show them. He's gonna show his power. But that's how the Lord gets down, man. The Lord. Let me get this in the book of Daniel real quick. Daniel 2 and let me see. I'll get verse 21. It says, and he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom to the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. Right? And the Lord's about to remove that understanding from me. He's doing it now. Everything that these devils are trying to do is being exposed. People are, not being as drawn to it because of what's coming out, on it. It says he revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light that willeth with him. Right. The true light the wisdom and knowledge, the wills will YASHAMIAHLA, man. The majority of people on the earth, they don't have that. Esau has that left hand light. That's why it calls him Lucifer in the book of Isaiah, right? But that light is being exposed, right? Let's go to Isaiah right now, Isaiah 14 and verse 11. It says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, right? And the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, right? Worm represents decay, death, erosion. And the worms cover thee. That's what's happening to this man's kingdom as we speak. That's why he got to move, right? It says, how art thou fallen from Lucifer, which Lucifer means light bearer, which he's that light bearer on the left-hand side, right? Son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations. And that's what this man wants to do. That's all he does, is weaken everybody. But his main target is the Israelites, right? It says, for thou hast said in thine heart, meaning in his mind, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the highest of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Right? That's his whole game plan, man. That's his whole game plan. Right? Which China, they already got a lot of this NWO stuff set up, for the system. They've been doing this for a couple of years now, really since C19. Right? But they do it in these other countries where they're going to when they get less resistance first, and they're going to save America, Babylon, the best for last, because people over here, they have so-called rights. You got the Constitution, you got the right to bear arms, you got guns and stuff over here, Canada. Yeah, it's kind of like America, and I ain't never been there, but it ain't too far from America. It's right next door, but all these different countries, they're in cahoots, man, and the NWO is coming. We pretty much already living it. It just ain't fully, it ain't going full blown, but we just waiting for that time, man. When they see it be made mandatory, you can't live life as the way you want to live it. You can't go here, go there, because of martial law, 15-minute cities, all these different things. Persecution is gonna come, because they're gonna have to take these videos down. We can't go out there on the highways and byways, as long as they try to build this NWO, man, because we're a threat, to this man's system. But it is what it is. That's all a part of it, man. Let me get Job real quick. Job 20 and verse 22. This goes into what I was saying earlier. He's gonna complete a good amount of his NWO. That's part of prophecy, but he ain't gonna get every single person on earth, because there's somebody that's a part of the elect. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, meaning a position of difficulty. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Right? It says, when he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain upon him while he is eating. You see, he shall flee from the iron weapon. That's talking about the missiles, the ICBMs, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. You see, that's what's gonna come, not too long after that mandation of the sea hip takes place. When he think he good, when he's feeling his belly, when he's feels satisfied, that's what that means. When he feel like he's completed everything he wanted to, that's when the Lord gonna show him, you ain't him, because that's what Esau thinks he is. He thinks he's him. So we just waiting for this man to get it really cracking, get it really popping off. We won really event from that happening. Don't forget about the oil prices and the food prices and all that stuff going up. The Iran and the Strait of Hormuz and all that, the deals and stuff. They keep telling you, at least the president of America keeps telling you that everything's all good, and it's not. He keeps telling you that there's more and more jobs coming, and there's not. Everything is getting worse. It ain't getting better. So I'm gonna close out, man. Esau, that's how you know who rules the world too, because all these leaders are mainly Edomites. Of course, in certain countries like China, Japan, they're not Edomites, but just who's over them is all Edomites. And that's how you know who rules the world. So I'm gonna close out. I hope this video is edifying. Pray for more faith, pray for more wisdom and knowledge. We almost up out of here. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Hagwadash. Double honors to the elders and Apostle Grand Millstone. To next them on saying Bible Boss.